Mike Rich here with the Mike Rich Show, and today my first guest is Dan Frockzak with Healthy Roster. It's a new electronic medical records company that's come out and since 2015 actually, but they developed it. It's working perfect for rodeo, and it's going to be a great addition to the contestants and their families.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that. Great to be with you today.
And the other thing I want to touch about today, on the medical benefits to the clinician like myself, it's way faster and way easier. You have benefits on there where I can upload x-rays, MRIs, a lot of stuff. What I want you to bring up is the benefit to the athletes and their family.
Again, thanks for having me on. Kind of the whole concept of Healthy Roster and why we started it, Mike, was really just to get everybody on the same page. I'm not a clinician. You are. I leave that to the experts. But I knew a thing or two about apps. And what I really wanted to do was have a mobile application that everybody could really access, right? I mean, you're using an app, I'm using an app, everybody is. It's in their back pocket. So how do we make that accessible for everybody? So the whole thought process was, Mike, how do we create a care circle that really incorporates everybody? Everybody who's meaningful to that cowboy or that cowgirl, i.e. you, yourself, your fellow clinicians and athletic trainers. How about the athlete themselves? Maybe their family doctor. Most importantly though, how about their spouse? How do we incorporate everybody who really wants to know about the health of that athlete? So by making a mobile application that allowed those stakeholders to be a part of this, it not only really expedited the care and the communication, but really just made things more convenient for everybody. So not only can you talk back and forth in a HIPAA compliant way, by the way, so that everybody's safe when they're talking back and forth, but then how do you share information back and forth safely as well? How do you document what's going on? How do you inform everybody? Instead of making 5 phone calls to the same type of people, have one line of communication so everybody's on the same page. It seems to work. We've got a lot of people all across the country using it now, and I think it's perfect for your setting.
Yeah, you guys have grown leaps and bounds by looking at your history and stuff, so you got to be proud of that. So Dan, a question or something I love about your app is confidentiality with the athlete. Being in medicine, HIPAA compliance is a big factor in the world today and stuff, but in your system, they can communicate with me through a HIPAA compliant cloud, correct?
Correct. I mean, before they're talking to you via text, right? Back and forth, they're sharing information. What they don't understand is that you as a medical professional and your entire staff, you're not necessarily allowed to share that information back and forth that's specific to what they're going through from a medical standpoint. So by having an application that allows them to communicate back and forth, it makes it all safe. So it's not just the cowboy or the cowgirl talking back and forth with you. It could be their spouse. It could be another family doctor. It could be 2 providers talking back and forth together. The point is that it's all safe. It's behind a secure cloud. It's in the app, and they never have to really download anything else ever again. This is the point where they have that app. It's in their back pocket. Any concerns or questions, it's real-time HIPAA compliant communication. It protects you, but it also protects them and just makes the conversation more open so that you guys can have and share important communication.
Very true, and it definitely helps when I can just send a file to an MD I'm sending them to, because we refer all across the US, Canada, Mexico, where I can take my injury report and send it so we don't start from square one every time.
Such a great point too. I mean, I used to cover rodeos back in the day. I was a sports anchor, and I used to follow those cowboys from tour to tour, from every spot event that they were going to. They don't stay in one spot for very long. Being able to have that information, that portal that kind of carries with them wherever they're going is extremely important. You never know what happened the week prior. You can be able to follow from one doctor to the next, from one provider to the next, understand so there's some continuity of care. What's going on with that cowboy or that cowgirl.
And as we've rolled this out, my staff loves that component. Like I've already sent evals to a doctor in Texas to get his input on it. He called it an MRI for the guy coming through Texas, but that was all doable because of your app, like communication and security.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Mike. That was kind of the whole concept of it too, right? We're not just trying to make your job easier, we're trying to make the athletes healthier, right? At the end of the day, they're not going to understand everything that you're saying. I'm not going to understand it. I'm not a clinician. There's certain things that you're saying that I need to communicate to the next provider that I'm going to, but I'm not going to do so as effectively as you can. So being able to carry that information over, time stamping that information so you know exactly when that was said, when it happened, in a secure portal. That's the concept. That's what's kind of spreading across the country, as you alluded to earlier.
And a big buzzword in sports is concussion, which on your program, you have the SCAT-5, the newest one. So I can actually send that whole concussion eval to the next provider and the next provider. And so as my crews are traveling around the country, we can see his score last week, retest him and say, you're not quite ready. Or he can go home and communicate with physicians at home with his app. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, concussions are a big buzzword everywhere right now, especially in the rodeo circuit though too. And I think now that we have this technology, it's important to use it. It's important to be able to kind of understand from one event to the next how they're progressing, because there's not a lot of time lapse in between. So understanding not only what that score is, but making it easy for you to, input that data to create that score is important too. So I think it's like 16 pages, that SCAT-5. I think that's what people have been using before.
I don't even like doing the math on that form.
We do all the math for you. Don't worry about it. It's all right there built in.
This is a great step for my program with Pro Rodeo and just in sports medicine. It's going to greatly improve the quality of all the PRCA athletes and WPR athletes, I think.
I started this for my kids. I'll be really honest. I wanted a way to help keep them active and healthy. But it quickly kind of took off from there. They're in high school, now they're in college. This works in every setting. But I find it so applicable in rodeo right now just because of how frequently the athletes are moving from one spot to the next. You need to stay on top of things. We want to keep them healthy. This app was built not just for the clinicians like Mike. It was really built for you, the public, the people who are taking care and care about those cowboys and cowgirls. How do we help you have a productive, safe career in what you're doing? And that's my goal. If I can do that, then I'm doing something right.
You're doing pretty well at your goal, I can tell you. So appreciate being on board with your company and all the sports you've been getting it set up, because as we know, rodeo is not like other sports. We don't have baseball, football, track, and your customer service has let us relabel everything: bareback, barrel racer, calf roper. So that's been huge for me and research we do to try to improve quality of care also.
Barrel racing was always my favorite. I loved watching that. So
Flashy girls
awesome.
going fast.
They're awesome. They're so fast. So we're glad to be a part of that with you guys, and continued success. And keep us posted. We love working with you guys.
Will do. Thank you for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Mike.